Nasim Fish factory resumes operation after attack by Sanyang protesters. WHO recommends AstraZeneca vaccine despite reports of blood clots. These and more coming on this week. Stay tuned. Good evening, viewers. You're watching This Week. I am Sana Tunkar, and now to our news in detail. Nearly a week after the violent protests in Sanyang village of Komba South, iAfrica TV visited one of the affected places to observe how life is getting back to its normal stage. And the Nasim Fishing Company at the riverside of the coastal village was among the facilities of the receiving end of the angry mob. Our reporter Binta Jallo was there, and she now tells us more.
The Nasim Fishing Factory has its offices and staff quarters bonded together with the Sanyang police station in a protest triggered by the death of a native allegedly by a staff of the fishing factory. 1 week on, work is noticeably resuming despite the cost required to restore full production power. Workers have been busy clearing the rubble from the ground to pave a way for reconstruction process. The proprietor of Nasim Fish Factory, Ahmed Abu Al-Mali, took note of the damage on the factory.
The damage is very big because when you see the truck, the stock, the fire is starting from Monday to continue around 5 days before the finish it. Before the spy around 4 days, because the stock is very big, because the stock is working for 1 year, and you can export out because the COVID, the shipping line, and you have empty container. That's why the stock is very big. It's around 3,000 something tons. That is working for 1 year. After the stock is a fish meal. It's a fish meal. The fish meal is kept with the fire so much, and I don't know this problem. The population why is do that, I don't know, because the factory here, this company, is support the village, support the committee. Fire, if you start to continue around 5 days, what you think the result about it? And you have anything? The store, around 50% is gone, is damaged.
Production at this factory provides large-scale feed for fish ponds, chicken feed, and fish for human consumption. The Sanyang village prior to the riot expressed their dissatisfaction with the presence of the fish factory as a serious environmental pollution. The Village Development Committee told iAfrica TV that it had engaged several stakeholders, including the Office of the Governor, Minister of Fisheries, as well as the National Environment Agency over the issue, but to no avail. For the youth of Sanyang, the factory is Chinese, which has no good to offer to the community. But a senior staff of Nasim Fish Factory, Al-Mustafa Sheikh, defined the company's identity under its Mauritanian proprietor, despite the fact that the Chinese been in charge of major operations.
Is a good, because Chinese, they know about this work very well. This is a first in the world. When you go anywhere, you see Chinese in this business, they access.
Mr. Al-Mali is hopeful that the government of the Gambia will take the right measures in protecting the company from future damage.
I think because the country, I have confidence for the country, because the country is maybe this one is mistake, but I think the Gambia government is protect everyone. Is to protect my own company. I sure that. I very sure that I don't have any. I think you can continue. Now I think it's after this problem, the company is safe before, not like before.
The people of Sanyang have since on Tuesday begun to forge ahead with the message of peace following the violent protests. Sanyang, the community grabbed national attention when angry mob clashed with security forces to restore calm in the area. Police fired tear gas at the violent protesters while the army briefly sent in troops. 1 week after a violent protest here in Sanyang, and which of course affected one of the factories, the fish mill factory in this community, work has seemingly begun and the factory is actually getting back to its footsteps. According to the management of this factory, it might take months before they can start work as usual. Reporting for iAfrica TV News, Binta Jallo.
One of the affected company in Sanyang riot, Nasim Fish Factory, have begun operations. And from that report by Binta Jallo, the Gambia government is constructing 2 key bridges in the country's Upper River region as part of plans to boost transportation and movement of goods and services. President Adama Barrow on Saturday paid a visit to the Basse and Fatoto bridges to assess progress of work being done on these sites, which are near completion.
President Adama Barrow in October 2020 paid a visit to the Basse and Fatoto bridges to assess progress of work being done on the sites. Construction works on these sites at the time was 80% completed, but now are almost at the finishing line. The infrastructure, according to President Barrow, would trigger economic growth and bring prosperity that would help balance the development gaps in the country. The Gambian leader commended the Chinese for their commitment and describes the bridge projects in the URR area as milestones in the country's development.
For economic reasons, even security, and health, this bridge is significant, very, very significant. Because if you cut down the travel time, and also connecting the road to Yoruba, I think it's a big, big, big achievement. And it's a big relief for the people from URD and especially the people from Wood. So this is a big, big, big development. It's a big achievement. It's a landmark project for the Gambia.
President Barrow says he will work towards fulfilling the promises he made to Gambians as he is now equipped with much experience and better ideas.
We are more experienced, we are innovative, and we are using local funds. This is key and this is very, very important. It was not happening for the past 50 years, but now it is happening. Then that is the difference we are making for the Gambians. And now we have an infrastructure board with the central bank that have also started. So that can make a huge difference going forward.
On May 19, 2017, China and the Gambia entered into an agreement on economic and technological cooperation, with China financing roads and bridges in the Upper River region at an estimated cost of $81 million, about $4 billion. The Basse Bridge will have toll booths where motorists will pay for passage, just as they do at the Farfenye Bridge. When completed, the Basse Bridge of 250 meters will connect Basse to Wuli, while the 170-meter Fatoto Bridge will link Fatoto to Pasamas. The construction works is expected to be completed in August 2021, and Longjian, a Chinese company that specializes in road and bridge construction, is in charge. For iAfrica TV, I am Omar Ahmad Toure.
From that report by Omar, hundreds of New Yorkers gathered in Union Square, Manhattan on Friday to condemn violence against Asian Americans in the wake of the mass shooting which killed 6 Asian women in Atlanta. Since the start of the pandemic, New York City has been a number of attacks on Asians in the last few weeks, with 29 reported incidents in 2020, and members of the Asian community were seen holding signs and pictures. We have more of that in this report.
Across the Bay Area, multiple hate crimes against the Asian Americans and Pacific Islander community have been reported over the last year, particularly attacks on elderly people without provocation. The 21-year-old gunman responsible for Tuesday's shooting in Atlanta faces charges of murder and aggravated assault. However, police still have not confirmed if the attacks were racially motivated. Members of the Asian community were seen holding signs and pictures. A protester held a banner with the message, "It was racially motivated violence," written on it.
This is what we need to do to not only bring justice for those women killed in Atlanta, but to prevent this ongoing violence against Asian Americans. We're not invisible. We are not chinks. We are not gooks. We are We are not COVID. And we are not a virus. We are human beings.
Among the political personalities present at the rally include Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Public Advocate Jumaine Williams. Former presidential candidate Andrew Yang was also present at the rally. Since the start of the pandemic, there has been an uptick of attacks on Asians across the U.S. New York City has seen a number of attacks in just the last few weeks, with 29 reported incidents in 2020. Reporting for iAfrica News, this is Mariama Cham.
From the global front coming back home, the United Democratic Party on Friday visited Batakunku in Kombo South to appease those who were displaced as a result of the riot that took place in Sanyang village. Over 250 Senegal nationals, in fear of being blamed for the crime of their fellow citizen who allegedly killed Jibril Sisi, fled to neighboring Batakunku village. And the incident triggered burning down of Sanyang police station, a fish meal factory, and stores built on Sanyang beach.
The visit by the UDP coincided with reconciliation effort spearheaded by the Sanyang Village Development Committee with the affected committees. Ajiyam Seka, the Deputy Secretary General of the United Democratic Party, conveyed her party's concern to the affected people as a means of complementing national unity.
We are not here to politicize this, but our party have the country's interest at heart, and that is the Gambia and the Gambian people. When things like this happen, we have no other choice but to represent, to show solidarity, but we are not here for politics, but rather to show solidarity. But since it's a political party, we will mention the name of our party. Since they said the government was here, then we also, UDP, also came to show solidarity. And with me, here is a token, even though it is not much.
By Mustafa Gay, who accepted a token of $5,000 from the UDP on behalf of the affected Senegalese, welcomed the offer and thanked the opposition for the solidarity. He described the engagement as empowering enough to keep their heart at ease.
We thank everyone that comes here because of us and appreciate what they brought us. Even if you don't bring something for us, just by showing solidarity is enough. We know that you feel our pain. If not, you will have never come here, talk less of bringing some cash. We are also thankful to the Imam of Batakunku for hosting us and making sure that we are comfortable. We equally thank the government and the security for providing us protection. We had all your pleas and concerns, but left to us alone, we are not ready to go back to Sanyang because we don't feel safe there anymore. But we will consider it after having discussion amongst ourselves.
The Sanyang VDC maintained that there was no need for any foreign national to live in fear, let alone abandon their residences as regard to the recent crisis. Community leaders and government authorities have since initiated a rapid response to the restoration of calm and peaceful coexistence in Sanyang. For iAfrica News, I am Fatmata Kasim.
UDP extends support to the 250 Senegalese migrants. Now, from that, we will go with a short commercial break and the news continues. Stay tuned.
The pride we take in our brand, the work we put into constantly change the landscape and elevate real estate in the Gambia, it's compared to none. From inception, our goal was to add value to the beautiful Gambian landscape. That's why we are proud innovators of community estates. Kololi Sands is an exceptional piece of work, tailored for ultimate convenience and luxury, to bring you an element of finesse that is rare but unique in its own. This is also our pride and joy, and we welcome you to the exquisite beauty right here in Kololi and right here on the waterfront. Kololi Sands, feel the ocean breeze at your doorstep.
Welcome back. If you're just joining, this is the week newscast. And to the remaining stories. The World Health Organization's Director General, Dr. Tedros, has defended the AstraZeneca vaccine as a jab with great potential in preventing infections and deaths from COVID-19. He informed journalists that WHO's Global Advisory Committee on Vaccine Safety has this week reviewed the data on blood clots and how it percolates among those who receive the vaccine. Desise tells us more.
The WHO Advisory Committee on Vaccine has concluded that the available data do not suggest any overall increase in clotting condition following administration of the vaccine. WHO boss Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus upheld the AstraZeneca vaccine as good in preventing COVID-19 infections and deaths.
We understand that people may have had concerns about the safety of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. The question with any pharmaceutical or vaccine is whether the risk of taking it is greater or less than the risk of the disease it's meant to prevent or treat. In this case, there is no question. COVID-19 is a deadly disease, and the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine can prevent it. It's also important to remember that COVID-19 itself can cause blood clots and low platelets. We urge countries to continue using this important vaccine.
News around the suspension of the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine was reported in several European countries over concerns of blood clots resulting from the jab. Dr. Mike Ryan, Executive Director of WHO's Health Emergencies Program, says there has been misleading information with regards to the vaccine.
There was a tremendous media explosion around this event when there was very little information around that. And many, I think, political leaders came under intense scrutiny. They were being asked constant questions. There wasn't a definitive answer. And many chose that precautionary principle of shutting down the use of vaccine, which potentially further undermined the confidence in that vaccination.
Dr. Maria Van, WHO Technical Lead on COVID-19, also added that it is normal for people to raise concerns over an issue, but it is equally important for them to get the right information.
I think it's important that we acknowledge that people have questions, that people have concerns, and this is normal, this is natural, this is good. But you need to make sure you find information from good sources so that any fear that you may have or questions that you have, you find the right information to answer those questions. So it's good to question, it's good to ask, but it's good to get the right information. We have seen these are safe and effective vaccines, and vaccination is a critical part of ending this pandemic.
According to WHO, as of 17 March 2021, more than 120 million cases of COVID-19 infections with more than 2 million deaths has been reported globally. As a result, vaccination remains a critical measure to help prevent further spread and deaths from the virus. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Desise.
The Inter-Party Committee, with support from the UNDP and ECOWAS, on Saturday held a meeting with all political parties to dialogue on the preparation to the 2020 presidential elections. The convergence at the International Conference Center aimed to commit politicians to a memorandum of understanding and a code of conduct built on a peaceful electoral process. Binta Fati tells us more in this report.
Lessons from the 2016 presidential election prompted the revival of the Inter-Party Committee, which consists of members of all registered political parties in the country. The committee provides forum for compliance, dialogue and cooperation among parties to promote a conducive political environment guided by the rule of law, democracy and peace. The co-chairman of the Inter-Party Committee, Halifa Saleh, who doubles as the Secretary General of PDOIS, prescribed the need for understanding between the president and opposition parties to ensure stability in society.
We are fully conscious that a stable and peaceful political environment is indispensable to development. We are also conscious that the presidency is an embodiment of dignity and respect. And the role of the opposition is also an embodiment of dignity and respect. And together, they must bring about the national development that the country needs.
The United Nations Development Programme Committee representative Isata Day underscored the importance in building consensus and acceptance of election results as a driving force for peaceful elections. Madam Day also expressed the need for the full participation of women in the political discourse of the country to ensure gender equality and development.
One of the challenges facing political parties in the Gambia is leaving women behind in political participation, and demonstrated by the April 2017 parliamentary election, where only 3 women were elected as members of the National Assembly.
As all parties call on the IEC to be impartial in the conduct of the elections, the chairman of the Independent Electoral Commission, Aliu Momod Njai, welcomed the meeting as timely. He reassured the commitment of the IEC to conduct a free, fair and transparent election come December 2021.
We, being entrusted the responsibility of conducting free, fair and transparent elections, will be doing so come what may.
13 out of the 17 political parties attended the meeting, who all endorsed the proposal by the Inter-Party Committee to the promotion of peace, rule of law and due process in the coming election. Reporting for iAfrica TV News, I am Binta Fati.
That was all from me and the rest of the crew on this week's newscast. Stay tuned for more of our programs. I am Sohna Tunkara. Thanks for watching, and it's a bye for now.